Hey guys, picked this up from a friend. This is an emergency grab-and-go kit that my friend got. He is a law enforcement officer, and he went through and did some emergency training, and part of the thing they did was to give out these kits. So I did, the only thing I've done to this is I did black out his department logo, so there's no issues there with that. But it actually says on here, purchased with funds from the United States Department of Homeland Security, and it's still sealed, so actually I have not messed with this at all. So we're going to actually unbox this and take a look and see exactly what your federal government thinks that you need to survive. And we're going to go through this quick because I'm running a little low on battery. So we're not going to dwell on every little thing here. We're just going to kind of whip through and do the contents. As you can see, it's a hinged box top, which probably comes all the way off, but it does reseal pretty good, so obviously you can use this for water collection if you had to. Alright, we're gonna go through these first thing in here is a Ziploc. We have a glow stick, face mask, very important, another face mask, another glow stick, small little first aid kit. It appears to just have, oh, there we go, some bandages pretty much only, nothing else. Small notepad, very good to have in an emergency situation. A pen, let's see if it writes. And it does. So that in itself can be a nice emergency thing, because this can be a straw, it can be, you can use it for writing notes or leaving directions, but you can also use it as a straw, as a way to procure water. This is some kind of a pill holder, which I guess if you are someone who takes medications on a regular basis, this could be pretty handy for you, especially organizing if you have to leave your house in a hurry, getting your meds together and organized. It looks like it has Braille on it too. I don't know what you could really use this for a survival situation. You could pipe some water purification tablets in there and stuff like that. Help you ration your water. Oh, missed one thing. One of these little pocket whistles. We're not going to open it up. Like I said, we got to move along here. We don't have a lot of contents and not a ton of battery left. This looks to be another med-based. We have some rubber gloves. Teepee, thank God. One small emergency blanket. It's like some hand sanitizers. Emergency poncho. Emergency poncho. Probably one of the most life-saving things you can have in a bad situation is to be dry and keep yourself dry. You can use this as a shelter, a ground cloth, whatever it is you got to do. These things are amazing. Now, this is not a tough one. It's not a good, expensive one, but like I said, this is something. Collect water with it. Use it to keep yourself dry. Keep yourself dry from the ground. Put it over your head. Make a little makeshift tarp. You name it. That and the emergency blanket. You can do a lot as far as surviving in cold weather. We have some batteries in here, so obviously we'll be coming back to them. This little one here. This looks like a hygiene bag. We have a comb, a toothbrush, a little bar of soap, a razor, which there you go, you got a nice blade there. You can do a lot for that. Toothbrush, looks like some soap and shampoo, toothpaste. So a little hygiene bag, you could do a lot with this. You could sharpen up that toothbrush, turn it into a spear, or a prison shank, you name it. That razor blade, of course, you could pull out those little blades and use them for cleaning game or just anything you might have to do. Just having a little blade in there is a bit of a lifesaver. Okay, little roll of duct tape. You're talking 10 yards, so about 30 feet. That's a nice addition. Here's our rations. These are those Daytrex bars. You're talking about 2,400 calories right here. So this is, probably like This will definitely sustain you for 3 days. So if you were looking to get 3 days out of this, you're looking at about 800-900 calories a day. Yeah, you know, you're not gonna be comfortable, but it will keep you going. We got a little flashlight with batteries, and you know, if we have room at the end, we'll try to see if it works. Because a lot of times you get things like this, and these things don't work. Here is a little portable radio. Once again, we're not going to count on it. I have a feeling this is what the batteries. It says 2 AAA, which is what they gave us. So it looks like just a little tiny belt clip radio. We'll set that aside, and we'll try and check it out at the end if we got time. Make sure these things even work. Okay, we got some water bags here in the Ziploc. So the good thing is a lot of the stuff's in Ziploc, which gives us some water storage. These are 4 fluid ounces a piece here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 fluid ounces. This is maybe half a day's water, you know, maybe a day. Will this keep you alive 3 days? Absolutely. Will you be comfortable? No. Ooh, that's pretty fancy. Looks like a water storage jug. Could be 5 gallons, who knows? There's no sticker or label on it. Could be 2 gallons, but we don't know. So there you go, guys. That's what the government thinks you need to survive. And like I said, my battery is running really low, so we're going to try and test these out real quick. But if this video cuts out, guys, I'm just going to let it go, because there's no point in going and doing a bunch of editing just to show you whether or not a flashlight works. If the video cuts out, I'll have some annotations here. So we'll do this on camera so you guys actually have something to look at. We'll see. These are cheap batteries, so we're not going to expect them to last long. Ooh, O-ring sealed. I would be surprised if this actually worked. This is a really cheap dollar store flashlight. And if it works, oh, it does. It actually works. It's not very bright, but it works. It's awesome. Now let's see if this radio works. Yeah, I know, exciting, huh, guys? But, you know, you can't plan these things ahead of time. I wanted to make this a true unboxing, so. And this is really just kind of more for novelty, just to see, you know, kind of what your government thinks you should have to survive. So, here we go. Get this out. It's got a bunch of covers and stuff like that, so we don't need those. Hopefully there's some earbuds in here. That would be ironic if they go and give me this nice radio and then no earbuds. We'll take a couple different pairs of earbuds and a lanyard. Some instructions in there, which means paper that you can use as a fire starter. Okay, let's see if this actually works. Hopefully we will make it through the camera. Okay. Alright. Okay, that's a good sign. There's power. This in a situation, even if this didn't work, you could obviously use these earbuds for something, the wire. Not sure how the tuning works. There you go. So it does actually work. We'll shut that off. And it does come with this little lanyard, which you could use to probably keep some of this other gear around your neck. So there you go, guys. Quite a bit in a little bucket. Plus, like I said, you do have the bucket to use. You could turn that into a fish trap in a wilderness situation. You can use it to gather water running off a roof or a building if you're in an urban. You know, I think this is fairly well rounded here, guys. Not bad for government work. You have, you know, you have multiple forms of light. You have water collection. You've got some communication products. You have, of course, your rations, which are a little weak, but hey, you know, what can you do? Your first aid stuff. first aid hygiene is okay, you know. I think, you know, having these, you can improvise these into water filters very easily. You've got stuff to take care of yourself and clean up, and like I said, you can use this plastic for, you know, sharpen this stuff up and use it for traps or snares, or even just, you know what, if you're in an emergency shelter somewhere, just use it to keep yourself clean. The first aid kit's pretty lacking, of course, just a couple of band-aids. This, you know, I'm sure you can find some uses for it. In a real survival situation, I would find a use for everything and I would throw nothing out. You know, this may be something as simple as keeping, you know, water pills in, or your medications, or if I had to, maybe even shred this and turn it into fish hooks or whatever, you know. Got whistle, more communication, of course your kind of shelter and protection, and duct tape. Got the duct tape. Can't forget that. Holy cow. All right. So there you go, guys. That's pretty interesting to see what they, you know, they cover most of your bases. You got the communication, you got light, you've got food, you've got water, take care of yourself, a little first aid, and some shelter. I think that's pretty good, and you got water collection. Of course, your biggest needs in an emergency situation are shelter from the elements, water, food, and safety. They've covered quite a bit of this. Now, of course, they can't, you know, send you this. The government's not just going to send you this with a loaded Glock in there, but when you consider for shelter in an urban situation, space blanket and this poncho would do very good, you know, keeping you dry and keeping you a little bit warmer. Is it going to keep you toasty and give you a good night's sleep? Probably not. But is it going to make you a little bit more comfortable? Yeah, you know, I would definitely like to see a bigger, better poncho in here and a bigger, better space blanket, you know, but when space is limited, you got to make decisions, you know. But if you're repacking something like this, you can easily take something like this out and add another space blanket or two. You know, of course, your first aid kit, I would like to see something with a little more based on trauma. I'd like to see some gauze, some antibiotic. Particularly, I'm surprised there's no antibiotic, there's no Tylenol, nothing like that. Usual first aid kits have stuff like that. This doesn't. Definitely an area to improve there. I would definitely want some ibuprofen. I definitely want some Tylenol. I want some Benadryl in case of an allergic reaction. That can actually save your life. I would want some gauze, some antibiotic ointment, some stuff to treat some larger wounds aside from just Band-Aids. I would love to see a utility knife in here as well. There isn't one. You know, I understand it's a government. They're not going to give you a K-bar. But, you know, a utility knife could go a long way in that kind of situation. I think it would be really, really helpful, and we don't see it here. Also, there's no rope or string. Yes, you can improvise out of the headphones and the lanyard and stuff like that, but I really would like to see some rope or even just some string in here. The Teepee is great. You can use this as a fire starter. You can use it to literally wipe your ass. That's really handy. Walking around with mud butt, not a good idea. The duct tape, of course, a million things you can do with that. We aren't even going to go into that. You know, this can be anything. I mean, this is 10 yards. That's 30 feet by 2 inches. You could easily make a tarp out of this. You could actually put this together and make a small tarp or a ground cloth or something out of this. You could use it to fix your leaky clothing. If you've got leaky boots or shoes, you can wrap them in this and help waterproof. There's so much you could do with this. Of course, the water, you know, how much water can you really fit in this small bucket? Not a ton. I would like to see iodine tablets in here, or maybe even some of those chlorine-based water tablets, or even a life straw. A life straw would be a great addition to this, because if you can only carry 16 ounces of water, you really want, especially when you have all these means to store it. You know, you got this big bucket, all these Ziploc bags. Why not give yourself a way to store all that water that you can purify? So I would love to see some tablets in here, or even some drops or something. It's such a small and cheap item. Could have easily been added and is a lifesaver, because water is your number 2 thing. You know, you can be killed by the elements in hours. You can die of hypo or hyperthermia in a matter of just hours. Water is going to take you, 2, 3, 4 days to die of thirst. You know, I think shelter is your number 1 priority, and then water is number 2. And those are the 2 things that are kind of weak on here. Light is always good. Those 2 glow sticks will last you a whole night. That flashlight, you drop that once, you get it wet, it's a goner. Definitely would have liked to have seen a little bit better of a flashlight, something a little more Walmart rather than dollar store. You know, you could easily buy a mini mag light. It'll be way higher quality than something like this. Take up a lot less space. Of course, you can use the batteries for starting a fire, etc. Communication, that whistle is dynamite. You really need some good. I'm surprised my battery's lasting this long, guys. I've just been sitting here waiting for it to cut out and talking. But yeah, way to signal, way to attract help, way to, you know, if you're in an urban environment, you're on a rooftop waiting for the helicopters, this is something to get your attention. If you're in the woods, you hear the search dogs looking for you, that whistle, worth its weight in gold. The pen, same thing. You can leave notes. If you're lost, you could leave notes in a Ziploc bag, where you're heading, what direction you're going, you know, in a wilderness situation, in an urban situation. You can leave messages to family members, where to find you, where you're going, all that. A very important thing to have. If you have to abandon your car on the road, you're trying to evacuate, you're running, you could pop this open and leave a note. Okay, going into the woods, you know, seeking shelter in the woods, going to my grandma's house, wherever. You can leave a note, you can leave a message. That communication is the difference between you living and you dying. They find your car washed up in a flood, they may think you're just dead. They may think, okay, this guy's dead. They don't realize, hey, he's got this pail in his car with survival stuff. You could easily write in there and say, hey, car's not safe, you know, went into the woods or trying to walk to the highway or anything. Just that communication is absolutely key. The radio too, in any big disaster, whether you're in the woods, whether you're in an urban area, it lets you know where search and rescue is going to be. It lets them know where they're looking. If you're lost in the woods, you can use this, and if you know where they're looking for you, you know, you can hear what's going on in the news. You can make it easier for yourself to be found. In a urban situation or a disaster, there might be directions where to go, where there's a rescue station, where you can get help, where there's food, where there's water, where there's safety. That communication is absolute dynamite. So there you go, guys. Some actually pretty decent stuff in here. A lot of room for improvement, but you know, for considering this is the government, you know, you're actually talking about a pretty good coverage of the basics here. You know, they got some shelter, they got food and water, they got first aid, communication, light. Not too shabby. I mean, it's not horrible. If I had this in my car and I had to, you know, survive a night or two in my car, this would be very, very helpful. If I had this in my office and I had to evacuate my office and couldn't get to my car and had to huff it on foot, I would be delighted to have this. Definitely, guys. It's could be very useful. It's something you can stash in your office, in your car, put it in your home, wherever. It's kind of a neat little thing. I don't think they're available to the public, but you know, my friend was able to get one just by kind of being law enforcement, and these are something they're obviously putting together and giving out to people. So very, very interesting. So it is always interesting to see what someone like myself who kind of practices survival and what a bureaucrat thinks is important for survival, and to kind of compare the two ideas and see. You know, I definitely all the ideas are here. It's just, of course, I'm a person who believes go for a much higher quality than what you see here. You want the better flashlight, the better radio, the better stuff. But overall, I give them an A for effort. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed.